Hi everyone, and welcome to our little cabin in the woods. Mael and I built this cabin over the past 3 years. The first year we had cut all of our logs and let them season, and then it took us about 2 years to build the cabin from the ground up. We built everything with purely hand tools, no machine assistance, and we've been living in it full time for just over a year now. So we figured it's time to give you guys a full tour of our whole setup here in the forest. So on the outside of the cabin here we have two rain barrels on these two corners. We believe they're about 50 gallons each, or 200 liters, and they collect our rainwater during the warmer months of the year from about spring until autumn. And we use this water for literally everything in the cabin, so showering, washing dishes, drinking water. And then during the winter months, the frozen months, we will either collect some water from our stream that has a pool that doesn't quite freeze fully over, or we just melt snow and ice. As you can see on this side of the cabin, this is where we store a lot of our bigger tools, a lot of them that we use during the construction of the cabin itself, so saws and axes, those types of things. So this is our wood shed, and it holds about a cord of wood. It's not quite enough for a full winter, so we do plan on building at least one or two more next to the cabin or just outside here in the forest. So this was meant to be the main entrance into the cabin, but we had a bit of a design oversight, and the eave here is a little bit too low. I have to duck to get under it. So we ended up making a main entrance on the other side of the porch. That's our main entrance, but we still use this one to access our woodshed here. So this is obviously the front porch of the cabin. This is where we spend a lot of our time during the warmer months of the year. So we have a nice little dining table here that we built ourselves with a couple chairs. This is where we eat a lot of our meals. You can see behind me we have a little love seat Adirondack chair that we recently built, and it's been one of our favorite additions to the cabin. We spend a lot of our time just sitting there and watching and listening to the birds and the squirrels nearby. We've recently added some string lights into the ceiling, and it has just made our porch here even more comfortable and cozy in the evenings. In this corner of the cabin we have most of our other tools that we store, and also a lot of our building hardware like screws and nails. And beneath that is where we keep kind of our weekly amount of firewood. So we'll bring it in from the woodshed, store it here, and it's about a week's worth. And we also have our kindling down in the corner. One last feature that we want to mention about our porch here is that we have a removable bug screen on the two big front windows here, and also the doors. So we put those up in mid-May when the mosquitoes start coming out, and they pretty much stay up until the fall, kind of September time. And if you're wondering how we have power out here on the porch, well, we have an external battery bank that charges off of solar power. We use it here on the porch during the more summer months of the year to keep our lights on. We also do a lot of our video editing out here on the porch because it's just really nice to work out here. So we power our laptop and a lot of other electronics off of this. So now you can follow me and I'll show you guys the interior of the cabin. So you might notice that this corner of the cabin is completely empty. Well, that's because the table and chairs that I just showed you out on the porch, we bring those inside once the temperatures start cooling down and it's a little bit too cold to spend time on the porch. We bring those inside, and this is basically where we eat all our meals during the winter months. In this corner of the cabin is our relaxing nook area. So there's lots of places to sit, lots of positions to be comfortable in, and we sewed all the upholstery ourselves. So that was a big project that we embarked upon. We never had any experience doing it, but we think it turned out pretty well. So another feature about this nook area is that it converts into a double bed. So that's really convenient when we have guests over. They have a nice, comfortable place to sleep. So behind this curtain here is our little bathroom. And in there we have a small composting toilet. It composts using peat moss, and it has basically two separate containers for number 1 and number 2. And number 2, you just kind of bring it outside and dump it outside, and it'll decompose naturally. and then the number 1 you can just dump out outside as well. It's actually very good for the gardens. There's lots of nitrogen in there that helps our plants grow. In the bathroom as well, we have our shower. So we kind of custom made a bathtub out of some old Coca-Cola type cooler. So there is a shower head that's connected to our 12-volt pump that has running water. So when we shower, the water drains out the tub through the bottom of the cabin and directly into the ground. And we use biodegradable, non-toxic soaps, so it should be safe for the environment. And this area of the cabin is obviously our kitchen. So we found a nice live edge countertop, and we built these shelves ourselves. It holds all of our dry food. Another project we did was to sew these little curtains ourselves. So these are all custom made. And behind the curtains we have some storage here for obviously kitchen related things, pots, pans, Tupperwares, those types of things. Down in this corner under the counter is our 12-volt fridge, so that's great for the warmer months of the year to keep our food nice and chilled. During the colder months we either just put the food outside, or sometimes the ground floor of the cabin is cold enough to kind of keep our food at kind of fridge temperature. So behind me you can clearly see that we do have a sink with a faucet, and we do have running water, and it's nice and filtered, it's drinkable. So I can show you guys a close-up of our water system. So these blue containers are 5-gallon, 20-liter containers that we fill up off of our rain barrels, and we kind of just switch them out when one gets empty. It goes up into our 12-volt pump, and the pump has a split. It can either go over to the shower, or it goes up through our ceramic filter here, which filters it into potable water, and then that comes out our faucet up here. And then the gray water from the sink just drains into this bucket that we just dump outside when it gets full. And if you're wondering how we have power inside the cabin to power the fridge, the water pump, all these lights, well, we actually have 400 watts of solar panels on the roof of the cabin. They're permanently installed there. And those wires come in through our charge controller here. And under this corner of the nook, we have about 180 amp hours of battery capacity at 12 volts. So with this electrical system plus our external battery bank outside, it gives us pretty much all the power that we need to run all of our appliances, even during the dark winter months. In the last corner of the cabin we have our wood stove, and this wood stove is probably too big for the size of the cabin we have. It puts out a lot of heat, so we don't run it at full speed all the time, but we do like the big flat surface area of it because that's where we do all of our cooking when we are running the wood stove. And beneath my feet is our stone entryway into the cabin. All the rocks that you see here we actually found ourselves on our plot of land. Most of them came from the stream because that's where we found a lot of nice flat ones. So that's just another way that we feel like our cabin is really made from our plot of land itself. So if all this time you've been wondering where we actually sleep, well, we actually have a second floor mezzanine, and I'll show you how we get up there right now. So one main design criteria that we had when we designed this cabin was that we wanted a second floor mezzanine, but we also wanted to be able to stand up in it. So you can see we've made it just about the right height. We have a nice walking area kind of in the middle section here. As you can see, this is where we sleep. We're able to fit a double bed in here, so it's super comfortable. We love the coziness feel up here. It feels like a mini A-frame with the slanted ceilings. And one thing that unfortunately you guys can't really experience, but all the paneling we made out of cedar, so it just smells really nice up here. It smells like almost like a sauna. Above my head here we have a little reading light to read our books in the evening. We also have a little window behind our heads just to ventilate the second floor. And then all along this side of the mezzanine is where we have kind of our storage area. So we custom built this whole storage unit to fit exactly the slope of the ceiling. So we each have our own 2 drawers of storage plus a couple of shelves, a main shelf here in the middle, and then a couple of baskets underneath for dirty clothes and extra winter gear, I guess. So all this storage is plenty for all of the clothes that we have. So thank you for coming along that cabin tour. It has been an absolute pleasure for us to build it over the past few years, and it's been even more enjoyable to live in it. One thing we haven't mentioned is that it's actually not accessible by any vehicle, so we have to hike about 1 kilometer to get here, and we just love that type of lifestyle. We're fully off-grid, it's peaceful, it's quiet, we're as self-sufficient as we can be right now, and that's just a life that we love living, and we hope to live that for the rest of our lives. So if you're interested in seeing the full build of this cabin, we actually have 2 separate videos of it, and we're going to link those in the description below, so be sure to check those out if you want to see how we built it. And if you want even more detail, you can go check out all our build videos. We have almost 70 build videos of the entire cabin from start to finish, from the very first tree that we cut to the last chair that we built last week. So there's tons of interesting content for you to dive into, so hopefully you take a look into that. Anyways, it's been an absolute pleasure to give you a tour of this cabin. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next video.